distinguished guests, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. I, Ashwini Madhu, your Sergeant at Arms today, welcome you all to the 604th meeting of Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club, Bangalore. I'd like to start with the mission of a Toastmasters Club. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. For every Toastmasters meeting, we have few guidelines to be followed. Number one, mute your phones, mute your mic if you are a non-speaker. I would like to request all the speakers to refrain from talking about sex, politics, and religion in order to avoid hurting the sentiments of our audience. I would like to request guests to mention their names and club name if you are a Toastmaster, or just your name and say it as guest if you're a non-Toastmaster. I would like to request you all to turn on your videos to keep our speakers motivated. And the last one, let's not forget to have fun. My thought for today, the road that is built in hope is much more pleasant to the travelers than the one that is built in despair, although both lead to the same destination. It's now time for me to welcome our presiding officer. But before that, she comes with a rich appetite for public speaking. She is a role model for all the members who walks the talk. She endorses Toastmaster as an unbeatable platform to network and to develop communication and leadership skills. Apart from leading our club, she is also coaching a corporate club, which is Bridge Eye to Eye, and she is also the PR manager for Division B. Let's put our hands together to welcome our presiding officer, Toastmaster Deepa Sampath Kumar. Over to you, Toastmaster Deepa.
Thank you, Ashwini. Good morning and good evening from wherever you're joining us right now. A hearty welcome to our 604th meeting at Speech Weavers Toastmasters Club. And this is our first Saturday, the first time we're meeting on a Saturday morning. I'm sure you're all feeling the shift in timings. I hope it feels more refreshing since we're starting on the morning. Now, I'd like to call meeting number 604 with the power vested in me as president open. I see a couple of guests, Vinod and and so I extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us today. Today's theme is hope, and the first thing that comes to my mind is when I think about hope is an acronym. It's an acronym for me. Hold on, pain ends. It's a beautiful way of recollecting what hope is. And when I think about hope and despair, which are the opposites of the opposites in meaning, I also think about recently an article which I read about the ISRO chairman, Sivan. And if you look at his life and what he said, he's told that in an article that he was raised as a son of a very marginal farmer. And he didn't have even sandals to wear until he reached college. That was a dire poverty with which he was born in. And he wanted to go to, he was very good in studies. He excelled in mathematics. He wanted to go to college. But then things went favorable. His dad wanted him to do his farm work. In fact, he got into his degree college because his father agreed that the college was close by and he could come to do the farm work in between. And so it happens, there was a lot of struggles. He managed after his degree to go to an engineering degree, and then finally he didn't find jobs. Then he went to study further. And finally, every time he struggled to reach further, there was some kind of major hurdle. He wanted to get in a job, but he didn't get one. So he applied somewhere else. He wanted to get into a certain team. He didn't reach there. But at the end, what he said was, whatever I wanted, I didn't get, but I excelled at whatever was given to me. And finally, he did reach where he wanted to be. So whenever I think of hope, right now, because that was the recent article that I read, it really felt inspiring. We should keep that in mind and keep the hope alive in us whenever we find struggles in our lives. With that, I'd like to proceed with the meeting, and I would like to call on a very interesting person to do the job of the joke master, which is to get us to laugh and smile. And today we have with us our newest member who joined us this month. He works as a data scientist, hails from the state of Andhra Pradesh, and he says he's a fitness freak only in theory and not in practice. So if you want all the advice, he will give you, but he's not practicing to be a fitness freak right now. And he believes in Toastmasters. He had a break in Toastmasters. He joined our club because he finds it very interesting. Please welcome our joke master for today, Toastmaster Siddhartha, with a big round of applause.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you for such wonderful welcome. And I truly believe in the Toastmasters agenda, and I believe that it is something which actually kind of like helped me even in my previous stint also. But frankly speaking, this is the first time I have heard of this role called Jokemaster. Okay, and this is like a like initially I thought like, okay, this is like a quite interesting role. Okay, and I signed up for it. Then later when I realized like, okay, it's happening on a Saturday morning, like, and mostly people would be like sleeping late, and they would be like getting up early, like coming up on Saturday and then just opening the meeting in 9:30 a.m. itself looked like a joke. And on top of that, like, I have to tell a joke. Okay, so that is something like which was scary for me initially. And then later I thought, okay, since it's a virtual meeting and people will be unmuted, like, I have to have one advantage and one disadvantage. So luckily, if I happen to tell a good joke, then like I'll be able to like hear some of the people like speaking and all, like, and I can always assume that they are kind of like feeling really happy for it and all. And in the other case, if I manage to crack a bad joke, which is like a most highly probable scenario, then also like I can always assume that like people are like quite happy about it and they are laughing behind the screen. So that is one advantage of this virtual meeting. And with this, I think I end my joke and over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Meeting on a Saturday morning feels like a joke. Well, let's see who agrees with that. Now, I would like to wade through the meeting, and thanks for taking up the, nobody volunteers to take up the role of a joke master, and you are a new member and you've taken the role for the first time. A big round of applause for trying it out. I'm sure since your pathway is also humor pathway, I'm sure you'll get better every time. Now it's time for me to switch the control to our main man. Our main man is a very multifaceted person. He was born in Kolkata, and he's been a Toastmaster since 4 years. He's an avid Toastmaster. In fact, he's contested so many times, and this time he's won the club level in ISC. He enjoys public speaking, needless to say, and listens to dramatic speakers. He's a passionate musician. We've seen him strum guitars in our club, and he also runs a small photography unit under Shub Lens Photography. Besides that, he works as a senior manager at Whatfix. Please welcome on your virtual screen with a big round of applause our Toastmaster of the day, Subhadeep Mukherjee. Subhadeep, are you there? Okay, I think he's re-logging in. Okay, let's give him a couple of minutes to do that whilst we just have a chat to fill the silence. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, somehow I lost my connectivity. Sorry.
Yes, Subhadeep. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Deepa, for your kind words and the introduction. I really appreciate that. First of all, welcome everyone on this Saturday morning to Speech Weavers Toastmaster Club, and a big round of applause for each and every person present in the room. A beautiful audience. Happy Saturday to all of us. Now, to begin with, I was having a very interesting conversation a few days back. And this was with one of the leading industrialists, and it was part of a major discussion. So leaving that aside, the conversation was about hope and what an extreme valuable commodity or an artifact it has become these days. And somehow I was actually able to understand and relate to what he said. Believe me, the conversation started on a very light note, but somehow it went heated up. The major points that he presented was around thinking how in the 21st century, we are more overwhelmed, or rather we are more concerned and focused to think what others are thinking about us, rather than focusing on the true journey, or rather than focusing on ourselves or what we have, we are focusing on the other side of the bridge. We always think that, yes, there will be happiness. The life which the other person has is kind of the bed of roses by Bon Jovi. But no, that's not the fact, is it? The way God has created everything, we must try to align ourselves by that thought. If there is happiness, there will be sorrow as well. Both comes hand in hand. Now, a quick question for anyone, any takers in the room. How do you define hope? Any takers?
Hope we cannot see, but we can achieve.
Okay, all right. So that's an intangible thing, but perfect. Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph. That's a great thought. Now, the reason I brought up that question is, if you look at the statistics, people, or rather youngsters, there is a high level of suicide that happens not in our generation. We have seen that. And why is that? Because we are focused to understand on the premise, or we are focused more on what the results will be, rather than focusing on the journey. We need to achieve a certain goal, definitely. But before achieving that goal, we should ensure that, yes, we are following the right path. Only if we are able to overcome despair, dejection, downheartedness, misery, only then we will be able to achieve that hope, that level, not utopia, but definitely a place where we will be happy. Because once you are happy, you will be able to spread that positive vibe, that positive thought within the others around you. That is happiness for us. Of course, we might be sad at times, but definitely we will be happy at the end of the day. When you close your eyes and think what made you happy throughout the day. And just quoting Martin Luther King, we must accept disappointments, but we must not, or we must never lose infinite hope. With that thought in mind, I'd like to introduce our General Evaluator for today. It's a very special person, a special guest that we have. He's a teacher. He's a double degree in fine arts, Masters of Education Masters in Education and Administration from Lamar State University. Teacher, and he teaches theaters and dramas. That's wonderful. And a semi-finalist of ISC, or International Speech Contest 2020. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome the GE for today, Toastmaster Fursey.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone for inviting me to come in and work with you today. I am your General Evaluator. And to me, that speaks to our theme today of hope and despair. It is my hope today to give you feedback and give you hope that we can all improve. And that's why we're in Toastmasters, isn't it? That every single one of us gets better with every speech, with every meeting, with every role that we take. and we starve despair. Let us put despair away. Let us bog that down. Do not despair that you will get feedback today. Instead, hope for feedback so that we can always improve. That is my goal today as your general evaluator, to give everyone something that they can feed on and move forward with. As you all know, I don't do this alone. I do it with a whole team of people, as we do in our club meetings. And so I believe it is now my time to introduce our tag members, our tag team. Is that right? And our first role is timer, Toastmaster Sushma.
Good morning, fellow Toast. Yeah.
Good morning, Sushma. Would you care to tell everyone about your role today, your opportunity?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. Today, I would be playing the role of timer. As the timer, my role is to monitor the time taken by each and every role taker and record the same. To help you with the time management, I would be flashing different lights. When you reach minimum time of your speech, I would be flashing green. When you reach in the midway of your speech, I would be flashing yellow. When you have reached maximum time of your speech, I would be flashing red. And for all the speakers, 30 seconds grace period is provided. The different timings for the different projects are for SAE and President, and for evaluators, it is 2 to 3 minutes. For the tag team, timer, grammarian, for the R counter, it is 1 to 2 minutes. And for the table topic speakers, it is 1 to 2 minutes. 30 seconds grace period provided for all the speakers. I would present my report at the end of the session when I'm called upon by a general evaluator. Over to general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sushma. What a great gift you give us, teaching us how to be artful in the way we speak and managing our time. Thank you very much. Our next tag team member is the counter, Toastmaster Nelson. Tell us about your opportunity tonight, Toastmaster Nelson, or today.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. Greetings, Mr. and Madam, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of my role counter is to note words and sound are used as a crutch and as fillers by anyone who speaks during the meeting. I will listen and overused words, including and, well, but, so, and, you know, and I will also listen the filler sounds, including or. Will also note that repeat words or process such as I, and or. This means like that words. At the end of the meeting, I will submit the report to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nelson. A great position to be in to help us all move forward. And next, our grammarian, Toastmaster Joseph. Toastmaster Joseph, would you please tell us about your opportunity today?
Good morning to all Toastmasters and distinguished Toastmasters and my special guest today, as well as the distinguished other guests. I am the grammarian, the syntax sentinel for the day. Grammar forms the backbone of any language. It is only with proper usage of grammar any great speech can be understood and appreciated. My role is to make note of good usage of grammar as well as wrong usage of grammar and provide feedback at the end of the meeting. The word of the day is disappointment. Whenever you hope for something best to happen, it always turns out to be disappointment. We acknowledge the word of the day by clap or thumbs up. I request you to clap or thumbs up when any speaker on the stage makes use of the word of the day. I will give my report to the General Evaluator whenever I called upon. Over to you, the General Evaluator of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph. It is through these roles, these great people who listen and give us feedback. It is through their feedback that we improve. Do not be disappointed with feedback. We thrive on feedback and we learn to listen to help ourselves get better. But the number one listener at today's meeting is going to be Toastmaster Aakash. Toastmaster Aakash, would you please tell us about your opportunity this morning?
Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, being a good listener is just as important as being a good speaker. As the listener, I will note interesting tidbits of information from any of the speakers and ask questions near the end of the meeting to see if everyone was paying attention. Back to you, Toastmaster, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Listener. Boy, I tell you, what an all-star cast of people today here supporting this meeting. I look forward to meeting back with you in a few minutes at the end of the meeting. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Subhadeep, I think he froze out again.
Yes, he's frozen again. So probably somebody has, I think, Mayur, can you take this meeting forward by introducing the first speaker?
He's back.
He's back? Okay.
Yeah, I'm having an extreme internet this morning. Okay. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, for introducing yourself and the tag team. Now, coming on to the very first section of the meeting today, it's the speech section. We have 3 prepared speeches, and I would mention a few things about the very first speech that is scheduled for this morning. The speech is about an interview between an HR and an UX designer. Now let's before jumping on to what the speaker has to share with us, let me share a brief thought about this. So the hope is that we will be able to crack the interview, and the path is how would we be able to track that interview, the questions that might come, right? So in the first speech, we will be able to understand from Toastmaster Vandana what all questions would be there and how exactly what should we respond to them. So this is a teaching, this is a learning for all of us, right? With that, keeping that thought in mind, I would like to introduce the evaluator for the very first speaker, who is Toastmaster Joseph, to share the objectives of the speech.
Give me a minute, please. My computer is just a little out of order. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice the skills needed to present himself or herself in art interview. The member completing this project has spent time organizing his or her skills and identifying how those skills can be applied to complete this role play interview. The member designed interview questions for the interviewer that there are specific to their skills, abilities, and any other content he or she wants to practice. Though the member designed questions, he or she does not know exactly which questions will be asked. Look for poised, concise answers to questions and the ability to recover from intellectual answers. Over to you, the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph. Now, talking about the speaker, She is an art lover and an UX designer. When she's not working, she's either drawing, we have seen her sketches, those are lovely, or running behind her daughter. And currently she's also serving as the club secretary at Speech Weavers. The interview will be conducted by Toastmaster Deepa, and I wish the speaker all the best. HR interview for UX designers for Speechcraft Technologies, Toastmaster Vandana. Toastmaster Vandana, HR interview for an UX designer for Speechcraft Technologies.
Request the Zoom master to spotlight me as well. Thank you.
Good morning, Deepa. Can you hear me? Am I clear?
Yes. Good morning, Ms. Vandana Raghavan. How are you doing? Welcome to Speechcraft Technologies.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm the HR manager at Speechcraft Technologies, and now I'm very excited to arrange for this HR interview round. I just took a look at your resume, very interesting. However, I'd like to ask you to introduce yourself to us, your background, a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a UX designer. I'm currently working with XYZ company, and it's been 5 months. Previously, I worked as a deputy manager in mortgage. So I used to work with a non-banking finance company. So I have 7 years of experience ranging from operations, marketing, and worked as a branch manager. So I have a lot of customer facing roles. So as a UX designer, I believe it's important to have interacted with users, and the knowledge is definitely that is ideal for this role. And I've done a UX design course while I was on a break. And I definitely realized that with my problem solving skills and my curiosity on how things work, I would be ideal for this job.
Thank you. But could you explain why you shifted your domain expertise from banking to designing? What led you to take the shift?
Sure. I think 7 years is a good enough time to figure out what you want to do in life. So when you know that you're doing really great in the job, because I was one of the youngest people in my company to become a branch manager, and being the only woman branch manager till date in the 10 branches, in the group of 10 branches I worked. But I realized that I love to draw. So I spend my days in the morning working at the mortgage company, and in the night I would stay up late drawing. So I realized I wanted to pursue something creative. So there was a lot of growth in my previous job, but I thought it was equally important to do something that I really was excited by. So while I was on a break, I continued to interact with a lot of the art community in Bangalore. And I realized there's more that I can do in terms of my communication skills and how I look at life. If I take a cab, I look at, okay, how was it booking the cab? What was my experience? Or if I eat at a restaurant. So I felt that I had the outlook that worked for a UX designer. And that's when I came across this course by Shiva, who's a big designer, big in the design world. After taking the course, I realized that I am really ideal for the job because I think like a UX designer. It is a creative profile. It's exciting, but it equally requires good communication skills and logical thinking. So I felt that I fit right into this profile. So I think twice. I decided that it was a risk, but I was willing to take it.
Risking for your passion. Interesting. Why did you choose us, Speechcraft Technologies?
The thing is, with UX design, there's a lot of expectations for UX designers to also be a UI designer, the visual design part of it. But I personally think that it's not necessary. Yes, you should have good knowledge, but may not be able to execute and know all the tools for UI design. So I am someone who is exclusively a UX designer. And the role in your company, the job description clearly mentioned that it would be UX design and also make sure that the UI designs are executed properly. So it was important for me that there is this clear demarcation from UX and UI design profile, because nowadays some of the profiles will even ask you, do you know how to code, or do you know how to do the developing part of it? So I was interested to join a company which clearly knew what was expected of a UX designer.
Well researched, Vandana. We create apps for our clients and primarily work on design. And I have a quick question about working hours. Are you flexible with working weekends, nights, night shifts?
Sure. If it is a project that it really requires me to work on the weekend, there is a deadline, and it's important that we put in these extra hours for sure. But if you're asking me to work every weekend and every night, definitely I think it's unreasonable, right? I'm sure that we also need to sleep so that we give our best. But in my current job, I do work late. There are times I work, even on the weekends. I do it because I really enjoy my job, but I also believe in the importance of work-life balance.
Where do you see yourself 3 or 5 years ahead in time?
So I just started out as a UX designer. So definitely I would like to move towards working as a lead UX designer. And I'm not sure 5 years is it's too soon, but in a little more in the future, definitely I would love to be a design head, because I believe that I'm a people person, and I believe that while working in a team, even as a UX designer, I like to help bringing in learning and developing our presentation and communication skills, which I am doing currently in my job. So definitely I would make a good manager as well.
Could you highlight from your previous experience, you being part of a team, you being part of being a leader? Can you describe 2 instances, being a part of the team as well as being a leader?
Yeah, sure. So to highlight my mortgage journey, working as a branch manager came with a lot of, responsibilities and challenges. Even being a woman, there have been times where people don't take you seriously. I was very young. I was 26 at the time. So I look very young. So there have been comments about, the girl looks very young. Is she really the branch manager? So I had to really fit into that role. At the same time, I had to make sure the sales team was motivated enough, trusted me, that I ensured to them that if they given an application, it will get sanctioned. So that is something that I do. And in my current role as the UX designer, I am a team player because I'm starting out from scratch, right? So I'm not in a managerial role. I've been given the responsibility, which is something that I volunteered for. So we have 2 design events every month. So as a team player, I make sure the speakers are comfortable and they're motivated enough. They start off saying that I don't want to do the session, and by the end, they come out as confident players. I've taken a lot of initiatives for creating a learning culture. So we've created a learning group, and these sessions have been, my idea, and to make sure we're always learning.
It was lovely interviewing you, Vandana. I think that answers most of my questions. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, sure. Some of the companies don't let us know that whether you got the job or not. So even if it's a no, I would love to hear from you. And I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. We will let you know soon. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting. Over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vandana and Toastmaster Deepa for a lovely interview session. Moving on to the next speaker, but before I introduce the speaker, let me go ahead and call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Mayur, to read out the speech objectives.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Shruti, for inviting me. So the speaker is attempting his level 3 project 1 from innovative planning, and the purpose of this project is for the member to practice writing and delivering a speech that inspires others. The purpose of the speech is for the member to inspire the audience as well. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mayur. So the next speech will be delivered by Toastmaster Ashwin. Let me quickly introduce the speaker. Born and brought up in Kerala and currently working as a manager at HSBC in finance analytics. Toastmaster Ashwin. Design thinking. Design thinking, Toastmaster Ashwin.
Are you able to see the picture behind me? I would like to look at the picture and kind of guess who is staying in this house. The objective is to sell a suitable banking product to the person who's or people who is staying in this house. So any guesses? Anyone?
Is it a
A
client?
middle-aged businessman.
Okay, thanks for your answer. Let's say if I say the person, the elderly couple who's staying in this house and nobody else, is that going to change your sales pitch? Most probably yes, right? So that's what is we are all kind of accused of, I believe. I mean, whenever we get a problem, we just kind of try to directly jump to a solution rather than trying to understand whether that is the right kind of a problem that we are trying to solve or not. So, I mean, you cannot blame us because it's more of a kind of human nature. So when you talk about it's raining outside, so what do you say? Well, just take an umbrella, or it's cold out there. You can just put on a jacket and then just go ahead, right? So, but when we are trying to apply the same kind of instinct across for solving a complex problem, that's when it might not be an optimal solution. So you may ask, so what exactly is an optimal solution? So I would say it's adept. It's not a perfectly optimal solution, but it's better than like directly jumping to a conclusion or a solution, right? So it's not edit, it's adept, EDIPT. So it's not a word in the dictionary, it's an acronym for E stands for empathize, D define, I ideate, P prototype, and T test. Okay, now you might be thinking I'm throwing jargons at you, right? So what exactly is this ADIP? So these are the 5 steps in the design thinking process. So just remember that these steps are not linear, like you start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you're done. It does not work that way. It's more of an iterative process. So you have to repeat through these processes multiple times to improve the solution that you want. So okay, so before I go into details, like you may ask, like where can you use design thinking, right? So where can we apply it? I propose you can include it in your everyday problems, solving your everyday problems. It could be applied to many areas. So when you think about if it's the problem is not very straightforward, especially when you're looking at a solution that somebody else is going to use it. So if you're designing a solution and somebody else is going to use it, it definitely helps there. So let's think of in your work situation, it could be as simple as a report that you're generating that is used by somebody else to make some other decisions in your organization. So if you are into sales, it could be how to sell more or how to get more customers. I would even recommend to use it at our Toastmasters club because for improving our membership strength. Right. So let me quickly describe what these 5 steps are in a bit more detail. The first step, as I said, is empathize. It's basically understand the needs and requirements of the user. Usually there is a disconnect between those who provide the solution and those who uses it. So in the image that I showed, who is staying in this house or what products can we sell them. So before even reaching that, take a step back and try to address try to understand whether we are addressing the right question. So if it's not, ask them or try to understand like what products are suitable for first. So that's the first step. right? So here we are trying to understand the situation as it is. The next step is define. So once you understood the situation, you focus or try to define the problem statement. So that's the next step. And the third step would be ideate. Now, when you define the problem, you kind of now generate a lot of ideas, a lot of radical new ideas, but at the same time, suspend the judgments. You don't throw away some of the ideas because it seems too ridiculous. Look for some of the weird stuff and just include all the ideas that you are finding. The next step is prototype. Prototype does not mean that you need to build a detailed working model. So let's say if you want to kind of design a mobile app, it could be just like drawing on a piece of paper. How does the buttons look like in each of the pages, and how does one page flow to the next, connected to the next? So it could be as simple as that. And the fifth step is to show them how to show to the end user this prototype and let them experience it. Be curious, and based on the recommendations or the feedback from them, iterate all the 5 steps all over again. So you'll get new ideas that will change your understanding of the situation, right? So one of the examples that I could think of from a countless number of examples that is there for design thinking is the design of a toothbrush. There was a company which wanted to design a toothbrush for kids. So what is your kind of uh, standard thinking? So for kids, since they are small, you just have a smaller toothbrush, right? So but what they did was try to understand, look at how the kids brush, and it figured out that the smaller brushes were not very kind of suitable because these kids does not have developed their motor skills, and they were finding it difficult to keep their brush in their hand. So what they did through different iterations is they came up with a brush with a thick hand so that the kids can catch it, grip it like this, and it was easy for them to kind of use the brush more easily. So that's just one of the examples that I have. You can even read up more on the design thinking and the numerous examples that is there out there. So I would recommend you to use this design thinking as a mindset in various kinds of problems that you're trying to solve in your everyday life, right? So what are you waiting for? Put your design thinking hat and start coming up with more innovative solutions to your everyday problems. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashwin, for sharing your design thinking thoughts and ideas. This was really engaging. Coming to the next speech that we have planned for today, our third and final speech. This will be delivered by Toastmaster Ashwini. And before we introduce the speaker, I'd like to introduce the evaluator for the speaker, who is Toastmaster Shruti, to share the objectives. Toastmaster Shruti.
I think she's not here right now. So if you don't mind, I can read her guidelines.
Sure, Mayur, please.
Okay, so the member is attending his level 3 project 1. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, level 3 project 1 from leadership development pathway, and the purpose of this project is for the member to practice. Sorry, 1 second. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice on writing and delivering a speech that inspire others. The same one as Ashwin. The purpose of the speech is for the member to inspire the audience.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mayur, for sharing the objectives of the speaker. Now, coming to the speaker, Toastmaster Ashwini. She's mentioned in her intro that although she has graduated in BCA, she always was inclined towards teaching, and that led to an experience of 9 years in education sector. She believes that Toastmaster is a place that has no boundaries to learn and excel with persistence. Toastmaster Ashwini, I can make a difference. I can make a difference. Toastmaster Ashwini.
Hey, buddy. What's up? What are you doing this Sunday? Hey, Mark. I hope you remember that we are meeting this Sunday. Please don't give any reasons. We are just not listening. Unlike last weekend that you did. Jay, at what time should I pick you? Guess what? Naveen and Vidya, they have already reached the club. Come on, hurry up. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Let's see how I and you can make a difference. I'm sure all of you right there, including me, have handful of friends and colleagues and close people whom we always would like to meet, hang out, chat, catch up, share our happiness and share with them why we are sad, share everything with them. If not handful, I'm sure at least there is one person in everyone's life who are very close to us, whom we can never live without. We spend such a wonderful time together. We make memories. We share everything and bringing about a balance in our personal and professional life. And that's how we move on in the journey of life. But after a few months or after a few days or after a few weeks, something that happens, there is silence. There is void. No calls from the other person. There are no messages. And when I call, there's no response. How many times should I keep calling and still hear or see that there is no response? I meet a common friend. I ask, did you happen to speak to Jay last week? I've not heard from him for past 2 weeks. I've been trying to reach him. I don't know what's wrong. Don't know. He's been not responding to my calls also. Okay, then let's wait and watch. Now it's 2 more weeks and a month more. No response. And then when we all get together, you know what? I think it's too much now. Jay is trying to throw attitude. For whatever reasons, maybe that's because of his new promotion that he has got or his new relationship that he is busy with. God knows, whatever it is, I think it's too much to handle. I think we should not give too much of we don't have to pay any heed to his attitude now. So we start tagging those people. We say it's an attitude problem, whatever it is. But I think we should stop caring. How much we could do, we have done. But if they're not responding, they're not showing any interest, I think we should let it go. It's fine. We can still move on. The friends who were so close to each other in highs and lows and thicks and things. Now there's no communication and they don't want to figure out what's happening. I want to say that it's an attitude problem or it's an ego issue. But on the other hand, the other person there is not waking up in the morning, is not feeling like showing any interest to any activities or any work, any people, no one. Shut down. They have to shut down, close themselves in a room not picking calls, not responding. They don't even know if they are being hungry, not eating on the right time. Maybe they're out, but I and you just don't know about it. Person who's so jovial, so happy, so happening, meeting friends, working, doing everything that makes him happy, all become an insect inside a cocoon. Build a wall around him or her. That is a clinical depression or a signs of depression that the person is facing. What is clinical depression then? It's a continuous mood of being depressed. The person has absolutely no interest in any activities. He or she is not able to focus on anything. And that has a significant impact in the impairment of his or her life. But you and I do not know about it. What are the characteristics then of this clinical depression? Your sleep pattern will change. You don't even know if you're hungry. Your appetite goes down. Your self-esteem has just hit the floor. You do not focus on anything. You just cannot concentrate on anything. You don't want to meet people. You don't want to talk to them. You just want to close yourself inside a room. You don't want to even see the light. Maybe for few people, the behavior would contrast. Maybe the person comes to office just like any other person. She or he does wear that smile and then spend the whole day. But still, there's something that is not like before. You all must be aware of Deepika Padukone, the famous Bollywood actress who was at her peak in her career, famous and did everything that she wanted to. But did you all know that she too suffered from clinical depression? She fought a battle against clinical depression, and she was not ashamed to share this with the world, because she said, unless we do not create awareness about it, people will not take it seriously. They will not know that something is going on. So how you and I can make a difference as a friend? We are at least one of those friends who knew the other friend, who knows what is happening in their personal life. Let's not give up on them. Let's keep making effort. Let's understand. Let's get that awareness to how to talk to a friend who's undergoing clinical depression, who's facing these issues. Let's understand and try and get the help to them. Let's remember, a friend in need is a friend indeed, and we all can make a difference. But before that, we need to be aware of what is happening. Let's not give up. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ashwini. Now, this brings us to the conclusion of the prepared speech section. We had 3 wonderful speeches, and now it's time for one of the most exciting sessions of Toastmasters, which is the table topic session or the impromptu speaking session. Now, to take this session ahead, I have a very special Toastmaster who would be sharing topics based on the theme that we have planned for today. Presenting the table topic master, Toastmaster Vinu.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today I am playing the role of table topic master. Let me brief you through the table topics. Table topics helps members practice the art of improvisation and also helps us think on our feet. This helps us develop 4 vital communication skills. One is listening, thinking, organizing, and delivering. Be it an interview, a question asked at a meeting where you aren't expecting to answer. So table topics will help you get better thinking with presence on the spot. The topics that I have prepared for you all will hopefully help all of us become better at improvisation. And please note, you are required to speak for a minute and maximum of 2 minutes. Our timer today will help you know the time used with our timer virtual background. So it will turn green at first minute and it will turn yellow at 1 minute 30 seconds, and the virtual background will be turning red when you reach your maximum time. Speech viewers table topics is like an hot cake. It will be sold out within few minutes. So I request all the volunteers to grab this opportunity and take part in this table topics. So now I may randomly call anyone to participate, or you can voluntarily come up and the virtual stage by raising your hand, or just you can ping in the chat box. So let's begin now. The virtual stage is yours for 2 minutes. Whoever is speaking first, so you can utilize this opportunity. So who will be
Vinu,
the...
Munish and Vandana have raised their hands.
Okay. So first I will pick up Munish Gupta, and there are total 8 table topics. So 8 numbers out of 8, which one you would like to choose, Munish? Toastmaster
4.
Munish. 4. So your topic is, why do we remember all the things we forgot to do once we are in bed? I will ping the topic in the chat box and I will repeat it once again. Why do we remember all the things we forget to do once we are in bed?
Good morning, everybody. Why do I remember all the things which I should forget before going to bed? I can say it is my nature that whatever I have done entire day, or any picture of any person on that day, I've seen the person who did bad with me. Maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I recall that person, that this man that time dissed me, betrayed me. He stabbed in my back. And then I ruined my sleep also sometime. I keep on thinking about that person. I can say this is a chronic disease I have, which I'm dying to get rid of this thing. Day for yesterday, I recall one person. That person passed away. It was coincidentally, there was some meeting of my profession was going on. I recall that where that person's son has gone. I didn't see him in that meeting. Once upon a time, his father, in his heyday, has a name. Today, where is his son? Then I recall the time I asked a petty favor from him, which was very easy for him to do it, but he didn't help me out because of sheer jealousy. I was thinking about that person before going to bed for 20 minutes. Next day, I discussed the same thing with my wife also. This problem, I can say it's a bad habit. Even I too want to get rid of this thing. I remember some of the things which I do the entire day. Suppose on that day, I didn't speak correctly with somebody. Maybe I made a mistake on that day. That night before going to sleep, I think about that person. I should not have behaved like with that person. I should be nice and courteous with him. I should had a diplomat role with him. So these things happen with me almost every day. Over to the Toastmaster, please.
Vinu, you're on mute.
Thank you, Toastmaster Munish. Thanks for sharing your insights. And now we'll move on to the second topic. And now it is turn for Vandana. So Vandana, apart from 4, you can choose from 1 to 8.
6.
6. Life should come with background music. I will repeat the topic once again, and also I pinged it in the chat box. Life should come with background music.
I was at an IT expo and I got a free filled up balloon. I held it and I started walking. And my friend said, "Why are you acting like a kid?" And I looked at him and said, "Is there an age prescribed for balloons? I am what I am and I'll continue to be." Have you ever thought about why people like chocolate, why people like doing things which seem very childish? It's not childish, it's childlike. And I am a childlike person. I love eating chocolate, and people say, "You're grown up. How can you eat chocolate?" And I look at them and say, "Do you know that cocoa is the drink of the gods?" I give them innumerable silly explanations and they're thrown off and they have to just come around and agree with me. I'm not sure if they're convinced, but at least I made my point. I'm someone with a lot of cheer. I love to dance to advertising jingles. I encourage my daughter to be like me because my husband hates dancing. Not that he's a bad dancer, but I've also instilled the childlike excitement in my daughter. I sing to her and tell her, "Look at the trees dancing to the wind. The leaves are dancing to the wind." And I sing this in a funny tune with funny words in my language. I am teaching my daughter to be herself. I believe that we are too serious. I see a lot of you Saturday morning. I think all of you need some coffee. Maybe you need some chocolate. Let's look at life with more joy. Let's not hold ourselves back. Let's think of life as a song. Can you hear it? The music of your favorite song? Yes, let's look at life like it's a song from a movie and let's dance to it. Over to you.
Thank you, Vandana. And we will also wish your child to become like you. And I would like to call upon our guest Vinod for the next topic. And from 1 to 8, apart from 4 and 6, you can choose any number.
3.
Sorry?
3.
3, okay. So your topic is, during lockdown, did you work for home or work from home? Your topic is, again, I'm repeating. I pasted it in the chat box. Your topic is, during lockdown, did you work from home or work for home?
Hi everyone. There's a bit of civil work going on and near my house, so apologies if you're not listening properly. So it's during the lockdown and started in March. It's actually both a little bit, right? And I would say work for home has increased a lot more. As compared to work from home. So I had to, because I've got 2 young children, they've had their online classes, so dressing them up for those. Obviously, the household work, because our household help is not available. So everything related to washing vessels to, cleaning up the house, everything was something which I had to do. And to be honest, I was a little, everybody say it's a bit of pain to be doing that, but I learned quite a bit. And I know you might be wondering what I would learn in washing vessels, but it sort of got me into a really meditative state, to make sure. And I got so obsessed that sometimes that my wife used to like come and say like, that's enough. Like it's quite clean, because I used to make it so clean and squeaky clean. And so I started to enjoy it. And, I started to find out that, that a lot of this should be done by us. It's all our own making, and, it should be our responsibility, just like how people do it abroad. Because we have the luxury of maid or help. It doesn't necessarily need to be. So it basically taught me a lot of things. So I would just repeat that, I think I did both, but I probably did more work for home.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinod. It's nice to hear that you contributed both to your work as well as your home. And next, I would like to call upon our Toastmaster Siddhartha. Siddhartha, you can choose from 1 to 8, apart from 4, 3, and 6.
I think he's not there, Vinu. Siddhartha is
Okay.
not there. Maybe you can give it to the listener timer.
Yes. So I would like to call upon Aakash. So Aakash, Toastmaster Aakash, your topic will be, before you marry someone, you should see how they react to slow internet. Toastmaster Aakash, are you there?
Yeah.
I pasted the topic in the chat box. Again, I will be repeating it. Before you marry someone, you should see how they react to slow internet.
It is an online world now. We speak to each other. We used to speak to each other through telephone. We used to SMS like 10 years ago. It was kind of a major communication thing. So there were SMS offers which were like available in almost all the networks. I used to get SMS packs for rupees like per 100 SMS per day. That those kind of packages were available at that time. The current world, when we look at, because of this COVID situation, we are kind of entrapped in our home. And even these speech weavers clubs meeting, which used to happen in a physical location, has now turned into a virtual setting. I have never been to this club, but still I happen to join this club because it is now accessible through an online mechanism. So it is now a unavoidable part of our life, the video chatting and video conference. So similar to how we connect online, I think before getting married, we need to be familiar with a similar situation where our spouse is living in a different location, and we are not able to make it to reach to the situation. Like physically, we cannot reach to each other. It should be possible to connect with them virtually, and for that, we need to make sure that even if the connectivity is bad, we should be able to familiarize with this mode of communication. Thank you. Over to you, Tabletop Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aakash. And due to time constraint, the last topic for the speech will be who will take the volunteer? Who will be the volunteer for the last topic? I will pick from the tag team. So, Joseph sir, Toastmaster Joseph sir, your topic will be, what do you talk about International Women's Day?
Thank you. The International Women's Day, we always have to talk about women's safety, women's dignity, women's inspiration, women's attitude, women's what you can say the will of, and women's everything that goes into a beautiful life for a woman. Because women acts in a different way. She's a mother, she's a daughter, she's a daughter-in-law, she's a sister, and so many ways. She is a very good companion to a husband, to a brother, to a father, and so on and so forth. All praises goes to women on this Women's Day. It is not that we should only think of a woman on a Women's Day. Women in our life is every day. We have to think of her in every aspect. We have to help her in every aspect. We have to love her in every situations. We have to bless her in every endeavor that she has taken up. And she was really a mother. She plays a greater role than in any other role. So your mother is always respected. Without your mother, you are nowhere. Without a woman, the world will not exist. That is why God created woman in this world in order to have a better life for a man. That is the most important aspect of a woman. So now, in the present technological advancement, you will find women in every place, in every elevated place, and she has taken in a, there is no place that she has left for men. All are equal, and they have been given women a greater respect than man itself. Therefore, women cannot be forgotten in this world. I hats off for women's ability and influence in the world. Over to you.
Thank you, Joseph sir. And I thoroughly enjoyed all the table topic speeches. Hope everyone enjoyed this. On behalf of speech viewers, I request all the participants to take part in our next meetings, and also you will get this opportunity to speak on table topics. So by this, I will sign off from my role and hand it over to Toastmaster of the Day, Subhadeep.
Thank you.
Over
Thank
to
you,
you, Subhadeep.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vinu, for the wonderful table topic session. A big round of applause, everyone, for Toastmaster Vinu, the table topic master for today. Now, moving ahead to the final or the last section or the meeting, which I believe is one of the most critical and one of the reasons I have been a Toastmaster for so long. It's evaluation. That helps us improve. And like our General Evaluator mentioned in the beginning, think of evaluation as hope to correct the things that we might be doing wrong. Do not take it in a poor fashion, because this is how we learn. Imagine when we were a kid, our teachers used to scold us when we used to make a mistake. Does that mean it was personal? No. It was a method. It was a way through which we could have learned. We could have improved ourselves and stand in the position that we are in today. With that thought in mind, I would once again like to call upon the General Evaluator for today, Toastmaster Fursey.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Absolutely echoing what you just said. Whether you get something that's positive or something that's a little bit more critical, both are helpful in moving us forward. Anything that is critical is not a sign of failure. It's only failure if you decide not to speak again. It's only failure if you decide not to speak again. But if you take the notes that you get, whether they are of a constructive nature or of they are a nature that is a little bit more of a pinch, both can be helpful in moving us forward. Moving us forward is our first evaluator, and this is going to be Toastmaster Joseph. Toastmaster Joseph, please tell us what notes you have from Speaker Toastmaster Vandana.
Thank you, General Evaluator. My target speaker, Toastmaster Vandana, has very well described and very well answered all the questions that has been raised to her by the company management. In her first attempt as an employee, her challenge was her age, and she was not able to accept that one, and she resigned. She did a very wonderful thing. At the same time, she also never neglected to build her other aspects so that she can overcome and get a better job. So she learned hard, and that has provided her a very good job as a US designer. She has also explained how the US designers also has given a little bit of challenge because of the extra work they are expecting to her. And she has to have that challenge at the cost of her health because of sleep and other activities that she needs to do. But at the same time, she's asking for also a higher level positions. That will not come unless hard work is done. But that also she has to know that it is not the early time, but it takes much more time. The much more time is again the retardation of her health and other things has to be taken care. So she has, however, the one thing that my suggestion would be, she has been giving an interview in a company which is not directly involved in her artistic development or a design development. This is a company with articraft. May not be that suitable for her. However, she is expecting the company to call back. I would suggest the US designer is the only solution for her to uplift herself in a very better position and a better what you call the conditions, as well as the better emoluments. This is what I would suggest. Over to you, Toastmaster, the General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph. What I really appreciated about your evaluation, Toastmaster Joseph, was you were such a great listener. Such a great listener. The details that you gave us about what you heard. First and foremost, an evaluator must have very good ears, and that's exactly what you gave to your speaker. Great feedback on what you heard, what she did well, and then you gave her that one little tip about how she could call them instead of waiting for them to call her. The one thing I'd like to ask you, Toastmaster Joseph, is you spoke about her in the third person, and I wonder if there might be an opportunity to speak to her directly. And I'm not sure if that's something that's different between your side of the ocean and my side of the ocean, but sometimes it can be very personal to speak to them directly about either something they did well or something that, hey, maybe try this. Because I think that kind of direct approach can also be very personal and very powerful from a great evaluator such as yourself. Thank you, Toastmaster Joseph. Let us move forward to our second Toastmaster. This is Toastmaster Mayur, second evaluator, excuse me. Toastmaster Mayur.
Thank you, Toastmaster Fursey, for inviting me again. So, good morning, everyone, once again. I am very much not disappointed that he has used today a very engaging speech of his on innovative planning pathway. I am very much impressed with him that he used in the starting some background with him to understand the office uh, who is using that, and in the starting he started with how do we solve a problem. So throughout his speech I was able to glue to his speech. Okay, so he was talking about design thinking, EDIPT, he used that acronym. So okay, what will be his this acronym stand for, and how it will be useful for ourselves, other as well. The speech was very explanatory and descriptive, and you are using your hand gesture as well. I would like to say one more thing. You can work on doing your. I was expecting you to do your speech by doing standing, and you can you seem to be comfortable throughout your speech and able to engage audience as well. You talked about how do we solve complex problem, and sometime in the speech I was thinking, is he getting disconnected in some sentences, or whether it is not complete connection in between two sentences. So that flow I was missing sometimes. And I think Grammarian or our counter will tell you that you were using some words quite a few times. So that would be, you could work upon. Overall, it was a good speech. It was engaging the audience, and I would definitely eh, say it will inspire the audience as well. Over to you, Toastmaster Fursey, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mayur. Fantastic. Good notes for your speaker, Ashwin. I thought one of the things that you did well, sir, you commented on his gestures, but you yourself were using gestures. Very nice. We must remember that as evaluators, we are speaking and we must continue to bring our audience in, and you did that. Well done, sir. I appreciated how you discussed flow. We don't talk about flow very much, but you discussed it in what he did well and where he could improve on his flow. Very good. Just because somebody did something well doesn't mean that they can't still improve. And I thought you addressed that very nicely. I liked how you talked about wishing that he would stand just a little bit, because I agree with you. I think that's very powerful. And one thing that I would ask for you to do, as you mentioned great things that he did, maybe one or two very specific things, one or two things that he did, that he said that you thought were highlights of what he said. So he has something to grab onto as a speaker. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your evaluation. The third evaluator tonight is going to be Toastmaster Shruti. Toastmaster Shruti, are you with us?
Yes, I'm there.
Excellent. Would you tell us your notes from Toastmaster Ashwini's speech?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Hi, Ashwini. Hello, everybody. A very good morning. I'm sorry I won't be able to switch on my webcam. I'll keep it audio this time. So, Ashwini, your project demands you to deliver a speech that inspires everyone, that inspires the audience. When you started at a note where I really couldn't perceive where are you going. You're talking about your friend, you're talking about that you're waiting for her message, and still not much is coming when it comes to inspiration and motivation part. And then bang on, you start with your friend's condition, how she faced it, and then after recuperating from it, she started to share her experience with others in order to inspire the lot. Here I have few points for you, my dear friend. When you are speaking and when you are to give such a kind of a speech, especially when it comes to the motivation front, it has to be something that drives people crazy. It has to be something that captures their attention. Here, one thing that we faced as audience was network lag. So one thing I would like to suggest you is next time when you're delivering a speech, you might have two devices on so that if one device isn't working or if there's a network glitch, you can use the other device as backup. Second, when it comes to gestures, you were bang on with respect to using your hands properly and also your facial expressions. It's just that a bit of a coherence will make you excel in doing your job. Overall, I found the content impressive and engaging. It just demands a bit of more preparation when it comes to network settings and gestures. With that, I would request you to give it one more try and give your best shot next time, my dear friend. With that, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Shruti. Wow, what great energy. I can feel you giving your energy to your speaker. She's definitely going to come back and do it again. And that's exactly what we want as evaluators. I like the energy with which you spoke, the choice of language, like bang on. Fantastic. I liked how you said it was impressive and it was engaging. I like your idea about having two cameras, and I like the urgency with which you spoke, Toastmaster. It has to be. There's an urgency in our evaluations that stirs our speakers to their next speech. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We now move on, I believe, to our tag team. Is that correct? And I will reintroduce our tag team for their reports. Timer, Toastmaster Sushma.
Yeah.
Our timer's report, please.
Yes. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Here is my timer report. To begin with, Presiding Officer Toastmaster Deepa has taken the overall time 2 minutes 56 seconds, and Jokemaster Toastmaster Siddhartha has taken 1 minute 15 seconds. TMOD overall time 5 minutes 10 seconds. And moving on to tag team, our counter 51 seconds, Grammarian 1 minute 12 seconds, listener 21 seconds, and evaluator 1, Toastmaster Joseph, the overall time taken 3 minutes 10 seconds. Speaker Vandana, Toastmaster Vandana 7 minutes 57 seconds. Evaluator 2, Toastmaster Mayur 2 minutes 45 seconds. Speaker 2, Toastmaster Ashwin 7 minutes 25 seconds. Evaluator 3, Shruti, Toastmaster Shruti 2 minutes 54 seconds. Toastmaster Ashwin, Speaker 3, 7 minutes. Ashwini, 7 minutes 55 seconds. Moving on to table topic speakers. Speaker 1, Munish Gupta, 2 minutes 21 seconds. Speaker 2, Toastmaster Vandana, 2 minutes 13 seconds. Speaker 3, guest Vinu, 1 minute 55 seconds. Speaker Aakash, 2 minutes 48 seconds. And Toastmaster Joseph, 2 minutes 12 seconds. Here is my report. Over to General Evaluator.
Fantastic. Terrific. Spot on. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your specificity. And now for our all counter, Toastmaster Nelson, your report.
Once again, greetings, fellow Toastmaster and guest. That meeting was very good. There is no that much of rich and fullest words and pauses also. There are also a few and fillers. Coming to the Jokemaster Siddha, few likes you used. And Ashwin speaker too, few hours. Vinod Karthik, some passes. Vinod, one R and some few source. Aakash, some passes. Mayur, few passes. That's all. Everything's very good. Over to General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Nelson. I'm sorry about that. Thank you very much. And now, Toastmaster Joseph, our grammarian.
Thank you, the General Evaluator. My report is like this. Good words that has been spoken are artifact, overwhelmed, align ourselves hand in hand, despair, dejection, downheartedness, insight, instinct, complex problem, optional, optimal solution, edit, acronym, empathize, ideate, radical, prototype, mindset, innovated, persistent, void, heat, jovial, clinical depression, impairment, self-esteem, fairness, childlike, numerable, excitement, obsessed. These are some of the good words we have been looking. There is a little bit of one or two is a not exactly a wrong word, but it has to be just a change. Instead of standard thinking, you could say ideal thinking. There is no thinking as standard. This is my only suggestion. And the other suggestion is not pay heed could be said as heedless. That's the one word. That's all. And the word of the day has been used by the General Evaluator also, and Toastmaster Ashwin, and there is one more table topic speaker. I could not pay attention to him. Very less people have been used, although it is very simple. Over to you, the General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Grammarian. You did not disappoint. Well done, sir. And I appreciated how you gave us things that we could do to actually change our pattern of speaking. Well done. Lovely. And now to our listener, Toastmaster Aakash.
Good evening again. Good morning again, General Evaluator and Toastmaster. I have prepared a few questions to see if everyone was listening. So the first question, what is hope according to Toastmasters Joseph? What is hope according to Toastmaster Joseph? Is there anyone who knows the answer? Okay. Something that is not visible but is achievable was his answer to that question from Subhadeep. Second question is from Vandana's speech. How many branches did the banking company Vandana worked had?
10 branches.
Yeah, that is exactly the correct answer. So for the next question from Ashwin's speech, what are the phases in design? What are the words that makes up edipt in Ashwin's design?
Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test.
Yes, that is exactly correct. Thank you, Mayur, for the answer. From Ashwini's speech, there was one Bollywood star who faced clinical depression.
Deepika Padukone.
Yeah, that is correct, Deepa. Thank you for the answer. According to our GE Fursey, what is a failure? What is a failure according to GE Fursey? Anyone has the answer?
Quitting to speak?
Yes, that's correct. Not choosing to speak again after a feedback. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. And the last question, which of the speech evaluators used the word of the day disappointed? We have Joseph, Mayur and Shruti as the speech evaluator. Who did use the word of the day?
Toastmaster Joseph.
Mayur.
Mayur. Yeah, I have noted Mayur only. If I'm wrong, sorry. Yeah, Mayur, at least I have used it. Yeah, that is the questions I have prepared for the day. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Nice job, Mr. Listener. Nice job. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for inviting me to this wonderful meeting. It has been an absolute joy. From the moment I answered the invitation, it was positive, positive, positive. All the advertising I saw, the PR work, positive. People reaching out to me, responding to me, positive. That's a terrific part of your meeting. All these things that happened even before the meeting actually happened. That is terrific. I urge you to continue doing that. There are a couple things that happened during the meeting that continued in that positive behavior. And I think you can keep working on that kind of energy that people have. I think that continues on in that positive environment that we all seek to have for Toastmasters. I did like the agenda that I was sent. It's very specific, though I do wonder, I just wonder if maybe in the middle, when it comes to their speeches, if we change the format just a little, it might be a little easier to read some of the things that aren't necessarily time frames, right? The agenda is really good at all the different time frames, but I wonder if during the speech where you write their project and the title of their speech, if maybe we had a different look there, just to make it a different thing that's not necessarily timed in that particular part of the agenda. I want to appreciate Zoommaster. It seemed like every time we got to the yellow card, they were put side by side to make sure that the speakers could see it. So I don't know if that was Zoommaster Mayur or whether that was our timer that was doing that. Wonderful job of keeping us moving forward. I love the word of the day. Great job, table topics, Master. Great job. Terrific questions. I appreciated Deepa stepping in when she needed to, when we kind of lost Toastmaster of the Day a couple times. I thought all of you were just on the spot, helping each other and being very supportive. That's great. That's really great. A couple things I'd like to bring up. Ever heard of a chat monitor? In some of the meetings I've been to, they used a chat monitor, someone who really focuses on the chat and adds things, and maybe there's commentary. I didn't know if that was something you wanted to add. I know, Deepa, you did a couple things in there, but if you had someone with that specific role, it could really engage people in the conversation about things that were being talked about. Great topics in the speeches, great topics. We could further that conversation there, or even make positive comments towards the speaker in the chat. Another thing to consider, I felt like sometimes we could add a little bit more clapping. And maybe we have to ask people to unmute and say, hey, we can clap for this. We could shoot for 100% clapping after each speech, after each table topic. I think we could shoot for that, and I think we could do it because you're a great group of people, but I know you're very polite. And so maybe, I don't know whether you thought clapping might be impolite, but clapping, I think, is a very positive way to make sure that people feel warm and supported. Overall, boy, I love this meeting, love the meeting. And the theme, how awesome was that? Hope, hope and despair. I hope I've been able to contribute to your meeting. I hope I get a chance to come back and meet with all of you again. Thank you very much. Back to you, Officer of the Day.
Thank you, General Evaluator, for the wonderful evaluation and the entire TAC team and the team of evaluators. This was really an interesting session. And I would like to conclude and share my thoughts on the meeting today. Now, people often ask me that, what do you do when things do not go right your way. And we all know since last year, things has been difficult for each and every one of us. So what I suggest is, one, think that there is always hope after despair and sun after darkness. And what I do personally, let me share that. Thank you, my friends, for being part of the meeting. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you, my friends, on behalf of the club. I look to see you again. And over to the presiding officer of the day. Thank you, everyone.
Wow, what a way to conclude. A big round of applause to our Toastmaster of the day for strumming his guitar and livening up the mood. I thoroughly enjoyed the meeting. I'm so happy so many of us from can the Zoom master use the door and he just snatched the order from my table. Thank you, Zoom master. I thoroughly enjoyed the meeting, especially we had our keynote speaker from last August coming back. We enjoyed his evaluations. I enjoyed Shruti's evaluations. Toastmasters stepping in from different clubs contributing, and also our very own members taking up roles, especially Siddhartha for taking the Jokemaster role, which usually stays vacant. Thank you so much for making this meeting a success. I have a few announcements to make. Our renewals for the next term is open. The renewal gateway is open from March 1st. So please renew your membership from April. And I insist you pay early because we get to aim for the Golden Gavel Award and the Golden Gavel Plus Award, wherein the criteria is we have to show 85% retention. And I also encourage to bring your friends along to join the club, bring them to the virtual meeting so that we can add more members and more feathers to our club. The second announcement that I have is tomorrow we have our area contest, which means Subhadeep, I and Vandana are going to be participating in the contest. This contest starts 10 a.m. tomorrow. I hope you all can join in and enjoy the contest speeches as well as cheer for us. It'll bring us more energy and we'll try to bring some awards back to you. With that, I think my announcements are done. I think there is a voting link that's provided in the chat box to vote for the best role taker. If you could put in your votes, we will announce the results of today's session. In the meantime, I'd like to call on stage our guest Vinod, who has told that he's going to join us from April. Can we hear from you? How you felt trying out table topics for the first time? Is he there?
I think he's dropped out.
Okay, then Munish. Munish is is a member from another club. Very enthusiastic. I've seen him speak at a lot of clubs. Munish, what is your feedback?
It's an incredible meeting. I really enjoyed whenever I attend Toastmaster meeting with you. I learned something from you. Over to the Toastmaster, please.
Thank you so much. We love your energy, the dramatics that you bring to your table topics, and also I heard that you are a humorous speech contest winner somewhere. So I would like to hear more about how you apply humor to your speeches. And I think Mayur is the votes cast. Do we have the results?
Yes, I have, but if few people, if you have not voted, could you vote, please?
So looks like
Those of you
somebody
are not.
hasn't voted. We have fewer number of people who've cast their vote. Please take the opportunity to vote for your best role taker speaker. Okay, then shall we have some chat? What are your plans for today then after the meeting? There's a bit of silence that I want to cover up.
Yeah, I think it was a great way to start our day. Okay, I mean, we for me, I was struggling to make it on Mondays, and for almost 2 months, I felt like my energy was less because I'm not able to be fully there for all the meetings from start to end. So I really enjoyed this time, the 9:30 time. But I think we kept Fursey awake. I'm sure he's tired.
Okay, I'm going to announce the results.
Firstly, I tried my best to
So,
get your name right. It
best
won't be
supporting role
pronounced
goes.
right.
Okay, am I mute? Okay, so best supporting role goes to me, Zoom Master Mayur, and best role taker goes to Toastmaster of and General Evaluator of the day, Toastmaster Fursey. Best speaker goes to Vandana. Best evaluator is to Toastmaster Shruti. Best auxiliary role player is Toastmaster Sushma. Best table topic speaker goes to Vandana. Congratulate all the winners of the day. Over to you, Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Mayur. So these are the tiny successes that you really